Hey everybody, welcome to part 22 of building the R2-D2 from Fanhome. So in this video we're going to be covering stages 83, 84, 85, and 86. Alright, so this is a pretty cool one. First of all, we're going to finally finish that metal frame that goes inside of R2's body. I think that's the last part of the ring that goes on top. There's also some sensors there for his head. This part's really neat. These are the little blue arms that go on the front of R2's body. These little blue arms right here. And they're actually motorized. You'll see a little motor right there, and they'll move. They'll open and close. It's really cool. Over here, we get the final part of the front of R2-D2's body right there. That's the final panel of his body. And I think we're going to finally be able to put the whole front half of his body put together, at least the panels. And then these are the little tool compartments that are going to go on that panel as well. So this should be a pretty decent build. Here's the magazine for issue 83. Let's see, Lightsaber Battle Part 2. So I think it's carrying on from the last magazines. All the rehearsals that had to be done for those amazing lightsaber battles. 5G networks, that's pretty cool. Oh, that's neat. Look at that little bus. It's probably robotic. Okay, so body frames and rotary sensors. So there is some sensors that go on the top ring of R2's head, or body, I should say, and that's to keep his head from turning too far, I think is what those are for. These little electronic components right here. So we're going to finally finish putting that ring all together, and I think we'll hopefully put it all onto the main body. Maybe not on this stage. Looks like they're mainly interested in getting those sensors put on. Oh, no, here it is. We do put it on the frame. Okay, so that's cool. We'll finally get this frame done. It looks like we're going to be testing those sensors as well. All right, so there looks like there's at least a decent amount of stuff to do on this particular stage. Here are the parts that we get for stage 83. So this is the last piece of that ring. We also got the two little clamp pieces that are going to go on here. These are some kind of, I don't know, housings, I'm guessing. These are the sensors. These are pretty cool. That lets R2 know how far his head is going. You'll notice that these are left and right labeled. And then there's a couple of wires that will plug into these. And then also there's some kind of a stopper here. Okay, so let's get started on these. Okay, so we are going to connect this now to this piece. So we're just going to use these connectors, the same kind of thing going on here. So this fits in here. And then we're going to use these screws. Now the screws were not provided in this particular stage. These are the 2x4mm screws, the really super tiny silver ones here. So we're just going to attach this on here. So be sure to save all your screws on this because you don't always get them with every stage. Okay, let me make sure I got this in here. There we go. Boy, I had a hard time kind of getting that started. All right, and then we're just going to put it in here. They got these dovetail things going on. All right, and then we'll put another screw here, and then we're going to repeat the same thing on this side. We'll have this other connector, and that's going to go over here with these two bits. Let me see if I can get these on here. And that's got a dovetail as well. And that's going to connect all of this together like this. All right, so let me get all this screwed together. Okay, so that is all assembled now. Okay, so we're going to put that off to the side here for a moment because now we're going to work on these little sensors. All right, so we're going to take the wires here. Now you'll notice there's two different size plugs. We're going to take the smaller one. We're going to plug it into the backs of these. So once again, we have these tiny little pins in there that you got to really be careful. And they tend to favor one side, so make sure you're putting the plug in the right way so that the holes which favor that same side. Just put them in here like this. Oops, let's try that again here. Just push them in and make sure they're in all the way. Okay, just like that. And there's the right and left sensor, so let's do it for the other one as well here. I went ahead and unraveled these because we're going to have to do it sooner or later anyway. Alright, so let's repeat the same thing for this other side. This is the other sensor here. Just like that. Alright. Next, we're going to take these sensors again. Now you'll notice this side has got these two holes over here when you're looking at it from the top. So we're going to take one of these mounts. Now you're going to make sure that the part that's got the ridges up here is on the top, and also the side that's got the little writing on it goes right up against this. So you're going to put it right up against this like here, like that, and you'll line up the holes. And then we're going to take a, what is it? I think it's a 2.3 by 6 millimeter screw. You know, once again, it's guesswork with these screws. It's one of the most frustrating things about this model, is constantly taking guesswork on it. Why they couldn't label these screws is beyond me. Sure would have made things a lot easier. And I will also say that the further you get along in this model, the harder it gets, because you have a whole bunch of screws left over. And these screws were also from the last set of parts, the parts pack 21. Alright, so that one's in there, and then we'll put another screw in here, and that'll hold that together. And then we're going to repeat the same process for this other sensor as well. We'll do both of those. So I'll show you what those look like once they're all together. Okay, so now those are all in place. Just make sure that this is flush up against that, that black piece like that. Alright, so now we're going to start with this left one. So you'll notice it's got the L right here. The other one's got R. So they are clearly labeled right there. So we're going to start with the left one. Now make sure that the ring is facing the right way. I'm assuming it matters, but it's got all the writing up here on all the ring pieces. So that's the way I'm doing it. That's the way it shows it in the instructions. So we're going to take this, and it's going to fit in this little slot. So you're going to make sure that the white part of this is facing down, and this fits right in here, the little black piece, just like that. Alright, and then these holes here line up with the holes on that white mounting piece. We're going to take the same 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws and fasten this on like this. Okay. Alright, so let me get the other screw in there. Okay, so that is now mounted in place. We do the exact same thing for the right side now. Putting it right here, like this, matching up those holes, like that. And then two more screws to hold that in. Alright, so those are now both in place, just like that. Now the next step you're supposed to do is take this stopper and put it right in here, and then you take a flanged screw and put it on. I'm going to skip this step because I know that later on, and I don't know which stage it is, we're going to have to take this off and put a different one on. I don't know why they didn't fix that from the first time this kit was out, you know, to save yourself the trouble and save them from making this piece. But so we're not going to put this on because we're just going to take it off later, so we'll just skip that step. So we'll go on to the next one. Okay, so next we got to get this all put on here. So we bring back the entire framework that we've been working on. We're going to put this on here. Now there are some locator pins on here that fit into these holes. So you're just going to match it up on both sides, this side and this side. And then we're also going to try to make sure that this hole is matched up with, or this rod is matched up with that hole right there. So let's get everything on here and get it aligned. Matching up those pins just like that. Oh, that fits pretty good actually. Alright. So you hope I got enough light on here. Now we're going to take these screws. Now which ones are these? These are the 2.5 by 4 millimeter screws. I think these came from the last set of parts as well. I'm sorry I keep bumping the camera here. It's not the easiest thing to film. Alright, so we're going to put one right in here. And then there's another one that goes here, and then two more over here, and that will hold all of that together. Okay, so all four of those are in place. And now we got to put the screw in for this rod here. Now this is a what is this? This one is a 2.5 by 8 millimeter screw. It's a longer one. That's going to go right down in here to connect this rod, just like this. This is quite the frame that they've got for R2's body. It's really cool. I am very curious to see how heavy R2-D2 is going to be, because this is, I mean, it's going to be he's going to be pretty heavy, I think, when he's all finished. But this is a really nice frame that they've got going on here. I'm really glad to get this upper section finally done on here. All right, so I think we're going to test these sensors next. Okay, so now we're going to test these sensors. So you take this board that we've had laying around for a while, and we plug the battery box into this plug right here, and then we'll start with the left sensor, which is plugged into this socket right here. So we're going to go and turn the light, the power on. We should have both a red and green light like you see here. Now we're going to put something in between these two sensors right here, and when we do that, I think it's the green light that goes off. So I'm just going to use, see the green light down there, I'm just going to use this guitar pick that I got from the YouTube channel Days with Jordan the Lion. Shout out to Jordan that I got this pick. So if we put this in between here, that green light should go out. And it does. See the green light going out as we do this? Very, very good. Alright, so let's set it up for the other sensor. Okay, so now I've plugged in the right sensor in the same way. So we'll turn on the power just like before. Here we go. Same thing, red and green light. And then we'll see if this sensor works. Hopefully everything does. Yes, perfect. Green light goes out when we put a block in there. Okay, good. Everything works on that. Okay, so that takes care of stage 83. Here's the magazine for issue 84. A new approach. Looks like they're talking about the prequels here. All the CGI. As I mentioned, I'm not a fan of all the CGI stuff in movies these days. I still am a fan of practical effects. You know, it looks real. I just feel like CGI kind of takes me out of the movie a lot of times because it tends to look cartoony or video game-ish. And I don't know, they still haven't got it perfect, you know, they haven't still got that perfect, but they're pretty good with it. Okay, so here we're going to do the cool little blue arms that go in front of R2's body. I've always liked his little blue arms. We see him use those occasionally in the movies, and these are going to be motorized. They're actually going to open and close. There's quite the network of hinges and stuff to make those work, as you can see here. So this should be a pretty interesting assembly. And hopefully I can get it to work once it's all put together. It's always kind of scary. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be a lot to do in this one. I like when there's a lot to do in these stages. So, alright, well this should be pretty fun. Alright, well let's get started on that. Here are the parts that we get for stage 84, and there's a lot. There's a lot in this one. So we got R2's cool little blue arms. That's what those look like. And then this is the motor that's going to make them open and close. I believe this is the housing for the motor. We have a lot of these little pieces here. These are going to make up all the little elbows and workings that make his arms open and close. It's like kind of a neat little network of stuff going on here. And we got these little connectors in here too. Alright, so let's get started on that. Okay, so we're going to start with these pieces first. Now this particular piece is, it says LBP50. So we're going to start with that one. Now we look at this little hole right here. It actually goes from this side. Alright, so we're going to look at it from this angle. Now this piece here, you'll notice the shape of this. See how it's got like these little tabs sticking out? And it also has a tab on this end. See that sticking out right there? Okay, so this hole is specifically shaped for that. So that first tab has got to go through just like this. Alright, and then those other two tabs fit in there, and it goes as far as it goes. It only goes that far. Alright, and then we're going to take this crank piece, and we go this way. Now see how there's a slot right there for that tab to fit through? Hopefully I can get this in the light just right. But that goes in just like this. Alright, that's how that goes. Now we're going to hold this together, because on this side we got to screw all that in. So we are using the, what is it, 2.3 by 6 millimeter screw. I think these are the ones that we use for the vast majority of this build. Okay, and that goes in just like that. Okay, so now we're going to take the other arm, and we're going to take it from this side right here. And once again we have another one of these kind of like, I don't know what you call this piece, but it's the same as the other one. The hole on here is the same shape. So you want to put that in here like this. And then those other flanges there will fit in, and it goes as far as it goes. And then same thing, we have this other piece here with the slot in it. Okay, and then we put the slot in just like that. Right, flip it over. Then we do the same thing. We put in another screw here to hold this on. Just like that. So now that one's ready to go. Okay, so next we're going to work on what they call the clutch. So we're going to take this piece and this piece here. Now in the instructions they show that this little opening right here on this thing goes in this direction, but it says it doesn't matter. I guess they said it'll straighten itself out later, or maybe it just is a self-straightening thing, but it fits right in here just like that. Alright, and then you got this piece that fits right on top. I don't think it matters which way this goes. Alright, and then you're going to take another 2.3 by 6 millimeter? Oh, 2 by 6 millimeter. Okay, put that in here like this. Okay. This plastic is kind of cool. It's that kind of plastic that's made to slide across itself. Alright, and then we'll put another screw right in that part. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to bump the camera. Here's the parts we're going to need for this next step. Now that's the piece we just built. Now you'll notice that this has the same shape as this. So we're just going to insert that in here like that. Just like this. And then we're going to take another 2 by 6 millimeter screw to fasten this on right here. Okay, we'll get that on. Okay, let me make sure that's in there. Looks like this turns. That must be the clutch they're talking about. Let me make sure that's in there all the way. Alrighty. Alright, now you got to make sure that the length of this matches the length of this, so they're both going the same direction. Alright, so now we're going to take one of these little pins. They're like little connector pins, and we're going to snap it into this right here. And we go upward. Let me see if I can get this in here. Boy, that's pretty tough, isn't it? Alright, well, let me see if I can get that on. Okay, so I did get it on. It's not the easiest thing to snap those on. I found that the easiest way to do it, we'll use this ruler, is take a flat surface like this, set it on here. I got to put another one on this side. And just kind of get the hole lined up, and then just push straight down like that, and then you can get it in there. Because just trying to push it in there with your thumb, you'll just rip your thumb up trying to do it. Alright, so there's that. Now the next thing we got to do is we're going to take these little arm pieces here. Now it doesn't matter which one you do first, but this is going to go on here. See, I don't think it matters which way is facing up. I don't know if this is going to have a hard time snapping in either. Let's see how this goes. Oh, okay, no, that went in nice. Okay, and then we'll do the other one. This is the longer one. Let's see, let me put that in here. Oh, okay, well at least those went on easier than, oh, there we go. Make sure they're on all the way, which this one is not. Push that down. There we go. Alright, so we got this cool little hinge mechanism like that. Alright, very cool. Okay, so this is where things get a little tricky. So they call these con rods. This one's slightly longer than this one. This one's going to go on the right. The longer one is marked RBF42. If you can see it right in the light right there. Alright, so the lower arm, which is this one, and it has this style of pivot here. The lower one is, and it says right, R for right, BP51. Okay, so now we're going to start with these. So I'm going to take this connector pin, and this goes down in here. Now I don't know if this is going to be a problem, and do I have to use the ruler? Yeah, it looks like I'll have to use the ruler for this, so let's bring that back in, set this up, Then push this down. Try to get that on here. Okay, that definitely works a lot better. So it goes, opposite. This goes down. That one goes up. All right, so now we're going to attach this piece. Now this goes this way. You'll notice how it's got that way that it's going. And this snaps onto, let's see. Am I doing this right? Oh, let's see. Actually, they have it this way. Yeah, so it goes like this. And this goes on here. So it's very specific about the way that all of this fits on here. So just make sure you follow the instructions very carefully. Okay, so that's how that's going to look for the lower arm. Alright, so now for the upper arm, we're going to have this in this position. We'll take another one of these connector bits. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to push this on here. I may have to do this off camera. Let's see. It's kind of a tricky way to get that in here. Yeah, okay, let me see if I can get that in there. Okay, so I actually put this on the edge of a table and then pushed this whole thing down on it. Yeah, they're pretty tricky to get these things in here. Okay, so now we got it going like this. And now we take the other side of this thing. And we're just going to snap this on here. Hopefully. Oh, good, yeah. Those definitely go in much better. Okay, so this is how that whole thing is going to look. And then that's the side view of it in case you need to get a better look of it. But boy, that's quite the little mechanism right there. Okay, so now we're going to bring back the front panel here, and now we're going to start feeding these arms through here. So we've got to get them through these holes like that, and this one goes through this one. And it's a little tricky to get this all arranged. I've got to make sure I'm doing it the way they showed in the instructions here. So that goes in like this. Now these little notches here, those go in these little holes right here. So we'll put that one like that. This one goes in like this. Let's see now, do they have this a certain way? It looks like they have this going this way. Let me flip that. Try to do it the way they have it in the instructions. Alright, and then this, boy, I'm sorry, this is probably not the easiest thing to see. This goes on here, and these fit in this notch here also. Like, let me see if I can get that in there. Alright, okay, yeah, so that fits in here. There's a little notch. See how that fits in there? It rests in that little spot. Same with this one up here. And then they have this thing, the clutch, they have that facing in this direction. It's like angled in that direction. So I'm going to make it just the way they have it. Now they say to make sure that these are flush on this side here. Make sure those are flush. Boy, that looks really cool. Alright, and then we'll flip it back over. Now we're going to put this piece on. This is the mount. Now it says that this is BF48, but if you look on here, it's actually BP48, so that was mislabeled. This is going to go on here like this. That's what's going to hold that on. And then we're just going to put a screw in here. This is the 2x6 mil screw, I believe, the same ones we've been using. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I bumped the camera again. Seem to be doing that a lot this time. It's not the easiest thing. I try to keep the camera in front of me, but that way you can get the perspective of what I'm seeing, because if I'm at a different angle, you may not always see what's going on. But it's not always easy to have that camera right in front of me, too. Alright, so let me try to get this on here. Okay, now let me get another screw on here, and then we'll hold that in place. Okay, so that's in place. You might want to tape these arms down just to make it a little easier for yourself so they're not constantly flipping out on you. Okay, so now let's see. The next step we got to do is this thing also keeps moving. It has to be turned this way. Alright, so that'll flip on you all the time too. Alright, so the next one we got to do is this piece. That's the next one, just like the other mount. It goes this way. Alright, that just fits on here. And then once again the 2 by 6 millimeter screws to put that on, like that. Okay, we'll go ahead and put that in. And then we'll do another one on this side, and then we should have those all complete. Alright, so next we're going to mount this motor. So we're going to take that little housing, and we're going to start with this side. This is the one that's got the holes over here, because this one, it's open on both sides. So we'll start with this. Now they say to put the motor in this way up. You'll notice there's like a short little thing, let's see, right here. See that little short kind of like metal piece right there? On this side, it goes all the way across. So they're showing it goes this way. I'm guessing that matters. I'm not really sure, but it says to put it in that way. So we're going to put this in just like that. Alright, and then you'll notice there's 2 holes here. So we're going to screw this in with some really tiny screws. These are 1.6 by 3 millimeter, and these are countersunk screws. Let's go and put this in here. I mean, these things are like microscopically small. Okay, let me put that in there. And see how that is a countersunk screw like that? Okay, so let me get another one in on that side. Okay, so that is now in place. So now we're going to take this piece and we're going to put this cover on. See, does it matter which way this goes? Let me see which way they've got this. It looks like it goes this way. These little things inside here, see those? They're a little bit higher up on this side. So that's the way they show to put closer to the spindle here. Alright, so that goes like that. And then we got 2.3 by 6 millimeter screws to hold this in place in the center here. Let's get that in there. Alright, and then I'll put another one on that side. Okay, so that is all in place now. Okay, so the spindle here has a D shape to it. See how there's a flat edge on there? And then the hole on the clutch here also has a D shape on it. So you're going to have to make sure you get those in there properly. Now this is not the easiest thing to do. I was trying to do this before. Let's see, we're going to have to lift this up a little bit. And maybe I can get enough light on here. That fits in here like that. Now these posts right here, see these things where the screws are going to go in? Those have to fit inside these blue parts here. Not the easiest thing to get that to fit right. Oh, there's one. I don't know, there's like some tension on there that I'm not too comfortable with. Yeah, how come? How come that doesn't work right? It almost fits better going this way, but the instructions show it the other way. Now, let me see if I can get it on here. Oh, okay, well there's that. Okay, now that does fit. Now you see how that slid down? Seems like there's a lot of tension on here though. Well, we'll try it. We're going to try out the arms anyway. So once again, we got the 2 by 6 millimeter screws, I think is what these are. I don't know, 2.3 by 6, I don't know, I've lost track. Alright, so let's go and put this in here. Alright. At least we get to test them, so at least we'll know if they work or not. Okay, so there's 3 more that go on here to mount that, so let me get that all put on. Okay, now comes the moment of truth. Are these arms going to work? I sure hope they do. So I've plugged everything in the way the instructions tell you to with all these boards. I will say that the constant plugging and unplugging of these things is really hard on the circuit board. As you can see here, I actually accidentally, this little piece here is starting to break. Let me see if I can get it closer. You can see it breaking in the corner. I mean, it's not going to affect the fit of that, but it's just, you know, it's not good. I wish they would have found a better way to do this, since you're constantly doing this through the whole build. Alright, well, let's turn on the power. And then you can see the red light over here. Okay, so there's 2 buttons over here. S2, I believe, opens these. Okay, let's see. Is this going to work? Oh, please work. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Oh, God, that scared me. Okay, so you got to press and hold the button. Oh my gosh, it works. Okay, so I got to press and hold, Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, thank goodness. Ah, very cool. See, what am I feeling moving back here? Oh, it's the little linkage. I got to make sure not to touch that. So yeah, okay. I love these little arms. I've always thought they were really cool on R2. Oh, oh, God, I'm so grateful that these work. Whenever you're doing stuff like this, you just don't even know. All right, very good. Oh, I can't stop playing with it. It's so cool. All right, I love it. Ah, thank goodness. Here's the magazine for issue 85. The Force is with you. Still talking about the prequels here. Wasn't really a fan of the prequels. I did like Revenge of the Sith. That was a good one. Oh, NASA robots. I've always loved those cool probes that are up there, those rovers. God, those things are so cool. We've gotten such amazing photos of Mars. It's just incredible, the technology that went into that. All right, so we're going to do work on the final body panel for R2, the last part of the front one here. We're going to put in the little details that go on inside there, the little vents, whatever those are. And it looks like we've got the little arm cuff. And then we're also going to put something here in the... Oh, that's those metal things. Boy, we've had those for a long time. We're actually going to start using those. That's what attaches the legs to the frame. All right, well, good. We're finally going to use some parts that's been laying around for months. Here are the parts that we get for stage 85. So here is the final panel piece for R2-D2. That's the front part. These are going to be those neat little vent things and the covers that go behind them. Here's the other half. That goes behind that. Another arm cuff. And then thankfully we get more screws because I'm tired of searching around trying to find out which ones I'm supposed to use. Okay, we're going to start with this panel now. So we just insert this blue piece right in here, like that. And then that's going to go in here. So we just put this in here and snap it in place like that. Now we're going to use the 2x4mm black screws. I had to go searching around to find these. Even all those screws that they gave us in this this stage, I couldn't find any of these. So I did manage to find a big package of them, which I never did use, so maybe they were just saving them for this moment. I don't really know. Once again, the screws being the most frustrating part of this. Okay, so there is that. All right, and then the next one we're going to do are these pieces right here. So we're going to go ahead and put this together. Let me see which way is which here. See what they have it this way. Kind of goes in diagonally like that. Okay, and then this goes in like this, also diagonally, those little posts. I do like how nicely those fit. All right, then let me get another screw here to get this started. And these are the same ones, the 2x4mm screws. They're pretty short. All right. And then there's 3 more that go right in here. So let me get all that put together. Okay, so those are in place now. All right, so now we just put this cuff on. So none of these have been screwed on yet, these little cuff pieces. They just kind of fit in here, but they are going to get screwed on later, it looks like. Possibly, I'm not really sure. Maybe, yeah, I'm not really sure. But there we go. That's all there is to that panel. Okay, so now we're going to work on the frame again. We are finally going to use these things. I've had these things laying around for I don't even know how long. I think it was like stage 60 or 61 according to what the book said. So we're finally going to use these. Now you'll see these pins sticking out. They match up to these holes here. Now we're going to start with the left side. You'll notice that there's an L right here. And these are both numbered the same. So this goes on at an angle like this. Just fits on there. And then we're going to screw this on. Now we're going to use the 2.5 by 8mm screws. They're the long ones. And also there is a split washer. I don't know if you can see it on there, but there's a split washer. You are going to have to use those on here. So let's go ahead and start with, boy, this isn't going to be the easiest thing to record here. Let me see. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. I'll try to put it on right here. Okay, let's see, can you see it? Okay, well, we'll just screw this one in just to kind of get started. I think as we go from this point, it's going to get harder to film this video, especially when we start plugging in wires and stuff. That's going to be really tricky. Okay, so there's the first one, and then there's 3 more that go in here. So let me, oops, I'm sorry. There's 3 more that go in here. So let me get that put on. Okay, so those are all in place now. So we're going to do the same thing on this side with this other one, and they only fit one way, so you can't screw up, thankfully. So this is just going to go in this, like here. Let's see, which way do I got this? Trying to look through the camera. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to use 4 more screws and 4 more split washers, just like we did here, to hold that in place. Okay, there we go. They are both on now. It's nice to be able to put those on after all this time they've been laying around collecting dust. So you can also see how this is leaning. That means R2 is going to lean like this. You can already see how his legs are going to go. So yeah, very cool. All right, well that takes care of stage 85. Here's the magazine for issue 86. Moving on swiftly. All right. Yeah, the costumes were pretty crazy in those prequels. George Lucas had a say in all of it. He was very hands-on. All right, so here's the tool compartment and tool arm. This is probably going to be a relatively easy one. Oh, well, maybe I say that now. But we're going to be building the little tool compartment with the neat little arms, the utility arms that we see him always using. And hopefully the door will shut on this, since I had that problem with that smaller one in the last video. But yeah, this looks like it's just putting that part together. Now I think we're going to also finally put all the front panel pieces together. Let's see, are we going to do, boy, look at all the wires and stuff. It's amazing how technical this is getting. Yeah, so we're going to finally get the entire front part of R2 put together. That's going to be really cool. So we will have the front and the back completely built as far as his panels go. It's good to be making more and more progress on this. Here are the parts that we get for stage 86. So here is the last tool compartment that we're going to be putting together. Here's the door for it. The hinges right here. These are the connectors that we're going to finally put the whole front part of R2 together. It's going to be really cool to get that done. And then these are just pieces of the little tool in his little compartment here. All right, we'll go ahead and get started on that now. Okay, so we're going to start working on this tool arm now. So let's see, we're going to start with this piece here. And then we are going to take this little ring that goes right on this, like that. Make sure it's all the way down. And then we're going to take this thing. That's going to go on here. Now I think we got to glue this. So break out the old super glue. Put a little bit of glue on here. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and put this on. Ooh, that's kind of a neat looking thing. I think this is that thing that R2's always plugging into, like the Death Star computer and stuff like that. That's what that looks like. All right, very cool. Now we're going to attach this to this. Let's see. Okay, so that's going to be glued as well. So let's go and put some glue on this. Get it on the outside here. Try not to put too much on. Okay. Then go ahead and put this on. There we go. It's kind of a tight fit on there. Okay. There we go. It's kind of a cool looking thing. Alright, so now let's see, we're going to grab this piece. Now you'll notice there's a D shape to these that you have to match up. Let me see, like that. Okay, so that's going to get glued on as well. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay. Let's see, which way is this facing? There we go. All right, very nice. Okay, so we'll let those dry. Next, we're going to attach this hinge. So this goes on this way. And we're going to need a nut. Now this nut and the screw that holds this together was from some earlier stages. So once again, you're going to have to hunt through your extra parts to find these. This screw is the one that's got the threads on the end. See how there, let me see if I can focus in on it. See, there we go. See how it's got the threads just on the end? And there's, you'll have a couple of these left over, but this one here is the 2x8mm. I have another one that's actually a little bit longer. Okay, so you're going to have to hold on to that nut back there while you screw this in. I don't know, that seems like it's kind of long. Is that how far that sticks out on there? Yeah, it looks like it does. Okay, usually they don't stick out that far, but according to the picture, that's how it is. Alright, well, that's good to go. Now we're going to attach this to the main section here. So there is the hole that this is going to go in, and it looks like, I'm not sure if it really matters, but the screw is on the outside according to the picture. So we're just going to push this in. Hopefully we can get the right lighting on here. Okay, just push it all the way in like that. And then we take a 2.3x6mm screw to hold that in place. Hopefully this is the correct size. I try to measure these, but man, I tell you, it's just constant guessing game with these screws. Trying to hold that in place here. Okay, maybe. Okay. It's always the hardest trying to get these things started. Okay, there we go. So now this can fold down like that. It's very cool. Guess there's only one arm in this compartment. I like it's also got a ratchet in there. That makes it so you can adjust how high you want it to go. Alright, well that's very cool. Next we're going to put these hinges on. So we'll start with this side. So we just match up this hole with this. Now it says to use the, what is it, 2x11mm screws. I had to really search around to find the right ones because once again you have to measure these things. And it's like you have to go back. It says it was from stage 76. I'm not sure how they think we're supposed to remember what screws we got 3 months ago. God. Yeah, but anyway, I did find this. And be careful when you're screwing this in because this thing, you don't want to bend it or mess it up. Okay, so let's go and put this in here. And you probably don't want to put it on too tight because you want to make sure this is loose. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing over here with this one on the outside as well, and then another of those 2x11mm screws. Okay, so now it's time to put the door on here. So these little hinges go in these square openings right there. So try to line these up. There's that one, and then let me get this one in here. Okay. Just like that. So just make sure you push them down. Okay, alright, now on this side we're just going to screw them in place. So the, what are these, 2.3x6mm screws, the ones that we normally are using. Goes like this. Okay, and then we'll do one more down there. Okay, so now we're going to take this panel and we are going to fasten this on here. So we're going to open this door and put it through here like this, and then make sure that we get all of these parts attached to the proper lugs, like here, 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 and there's one up here at the top. So make sure those are good and flat. Alright, looks like we got it. And we're going to take the 2.3x6mm screws and attach all of these. There's going to be 5 of these. Okay. And you do get these screws with this parts pack. Alright, so there's one there, so 4 more, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's all complete. Okay, so now that is all in place. The door opens very nicely and shuts very cool. Alright, so now it's time to put these things on, these connectors. So this one does have an arrow. I don't know if you can see it, but it's way back here. It's kind of hard to see. It's kind of right there. Okay, so you're going to match the arrow on this to that one. Okay, and this is what's going to connect all the panels together, just like we did for the back. And this is going to use a 2.3 by 6 millimeter flanged screw. It's got that little flange on it. I hope I did that on the back panels. I'll have to check that back panel. I don't remember if I used the flanged screws. Sometimes I don't see the word flanged on the instructions. Okay, so there's that one. Now the next one is going to be this little L-shaped piece. That one's going to go here in the center, right there. And then the other one that looks like the top one, there's an arrow on this one too that you can see right there, but the arrow actually goes away from the edge. See, it goes, so it's going to go like this. Okay, so let me get both of those put on, and then we should have all of those connectors on and ready to go for the other panel. Okay, so now we are ready to start putting all these panels together. So we're going to start with this one on this side, and you just meet it up with all the connectors. Let me get this wire out of the way. Put it in with all the connectors in place like that. Make sure we got them the way they're supposed to be. Okay, and then we take another of the 2.3 by 6 millimeter flanged screws and just start screwing them in there. So there's one here, and one here. So let me get all that done. Okay, so that panel is now in place. So now we're going to do the same thing for this last remaining panel. Now this one's got 4 of these connectors, and that's going to go right on here just like we did on the other side. Make sure everything fits properly. Okay, let's try to get these on here evenly. These are not the easiest things to put on, and once you get them on, you got to try to make sure they're, you know, flush with the other panel. Okay, so there's 4 of these. There's 1, 2, and then the 2 in the middle. And the same thing, the 2.3 by 6 millimeter flanged screws. So let me get those put on. Okay, there we go. Oh man, this was a long one. I think I spent about 10 hours making this video. It's crazy. But you know, I love it. We are getting really, really far on this now. The entire front half of R2 is completely finished now. We got all the neat little compartments that open. This one still doesn't close all the way. The little arms go down into the little door areas and shut. Same with these. I think this one goes in first. And this one. And then this closes. Like, oh, I don't have that down all the way. Okay, now, there we go. There, that one closes. This one closes. That looks really good. I love the front end of this. Those little blue arms work, thank goodness. Very, very cool. So we're done with the panels as far as the front and back of R2. We got the frame completely finished now. So, yeah, oh, wow. So this completes stages, what, 83, 84, 85, and 86. We are getting down to the finish line on this. I only have 4 more deliveries of these. And oh boy, I'll be glad when this is done. I will really be glad when this is done. This has been quite the build. A lot of stuff going on, but yeah, very cool. Really enjoying this model a lot. I really have been enjoying this model. But anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'd very much appreciate it. So until the next video, thank you very much for watching and have a good one.